What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the house call, and welcome back to the house call gridiron segment. I am once again here with Ricky, DJ Nerd himself, and we're just gonna do a little Monday night recap, a little Week 9 recap, and a little preview for Thursday night football. Bengals, Ravens, round 2 after a banger of our first meet up between these two teams, and that and more coming up right at you. Welcome back, everyone. Real quick, just want to shout out Vivid Seats. Thank you for sponsoring us as always. For concerts, games, any event you can imagine, Vivid Seats is where you gotta go. Best prices, no taxes and fees. Get that out of here. Best bang for your buck. Never had a problem getting tickets. Always in stock. Always gotta check them out. Vivid Seats. NBA season's in full swing. NHL season's in full swing. We just said goodbye to baseball season with someone over there being very happy in the outcome. And believe it or not, we are over halfway to NFL playoffs. So those tickets are starting to go. Might want to start looking at matchups, especially if you're a Chiefs fan, because you already know you guys are going to be there. Unfortunately. Well, I think going forward for my Week 9 review, my game of the week, much like the preview of what we thought was going to be game of the week, it was definitely Lions-Packers. It would have been a little more interesting if Jordan Love was 100%. He didn't look like he was. Looked like the groin injury really was hindering him. He was trying to do too much, as Tom Brady pointed out a lot during that broadcast while he was commentating. I don't know if it was to compensate for his lack of mobility during the game. They were trying to force throws to keep the game competitive. And they weren't really able to lean on Josh Jacobs due to the game script at that point, which was a huge hindrance to them. I understand why Jordan Love wanted to play. If you think you can, as an athlete, you're going to, no matter how you feel. If you think you can do it, you're going to do it. So I understand that. And he does give them the best chance to win over Malik Willis. It's not close. Malik Willis is serviceable, will win games, but he's not Jordan Love. That being said, Jordan Love's got to clean up his game. League leading interception, has missed 2 games already. He still leads the league in interceptions. But can't argue with the results. Packers have a great defense, great supporting cast, great record. They're just in the most competitive division in football. So going forward for them, it's rough sledding. You got to beat the Bears. You got to beat the Vikings again. And it's going to come down to round 2, Lions-Packers. It'll come down to it. And that's going to have a lot of playoff implications. I do think the Packers still get to the playoffs. It's just not going to be the easiest sledding a team has had, especially in that division this year, with all 4 teams being relatively good. Even I would still even qualify the Bears in that. On the other side, Dan Campbell-led Lions can do no wrong at this point. What knock do you have? Now they went out and traded for Darius Smith to replace Aiden Hutchinson, who's hurt for the year, and got a former Pro Bowl edge rusher and from the Cleveland Browns. And this was the move I thought they were going to make. We all saw the writing on the wall. They were just missing that real pressure on defense that one is missing with Aiden Hutchinson. And then when I got in that pick, I thought they were going to go out a different Browns player and get Myles Garrett. But that's a little stretch. Probably asked for way too much. But getting Darius Smith works just as well. Still a great player. Not that removed from Pro Bowl season. Lions offense, it's 2 best running backs in the game. The best tandem in the NFL, for sure. Can't even deny that. Jared Goff is the most efficient quarterback in the NFL. Posting near perfect passer ratings for 6 weeks in a row at this point. And if you play in that football with an aggressive coach who believes in that offense is putting up 30-plus a game. Your defense is looking great, even if Brian Branch gets ejected in the first quarter. And your secondary is a little thin. but you still play at a high level, still keep Jordan Love down and a explosive Packers offense down, you can do no wrong at this point. And I think they are disciplined enough that they won't beat themselves out of games, which is huge in the NFL, especially from fans of two very awful organizations and beating themselves, being the Raiders and Jets over here. I don't know what team at this point in the NFC beats the Detroit Lions. And a couple years ago, saying that sentence, you sound crazy, but they are the best team in the NFC. And it is truly Super Bowl or bust in Detroit right now. And the Motor City's coming, and Dan Campbell is that guy. Just everything they needed right there. And a culture change. And the players around him want to play, and they're playing at a very, very high level. Ricky, I'm going to go to you. What is your game of the week?
Well, if I could just kind of take it a step further, I mean, with the Lions, I don't think they're just the best team in the NFC. I actually truly believe they're the best team in the NFL. Period. We all know, obviously, it's a little hot takey to say that because Kansas City's still there, of course, and they have the undefeated record, which is to me the strangest undefeated record through 8 games since Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers were 10-0 a couple years ago.
Yeah, their margin for victory, I think, is less than a touchdown.
Yeah, it feels like that every single game, other than, of course, when they play the Raiders, but that's a different story. But as far as my, let me pivot towards the AFC side, and it's not really particularly gauge the game of, the game of the week on the AFC, Bills Dolphins. Shootout, Tua is kind of looking like his old self, pre-injury or pre-health concerns, with his concussions and everything. Tua is looking like his old self, and that offense is starting to click again, but for the Bills, to walk it off on a 61-yard, field goal is huge for them. They are I believe 4 games ahead in their division. They're just clearly running away. I know it hurts you to hear that, Gage.
No, I mean, I'm okay where I'm at in the season. I just want to tank at this point. I'm good.
So, excuse me. So, I mean, they're really just truly like it's an addition by subtraction when they got rid of Stephon Diggs, truly. And Amari Cooper down the line is going to have his big contributions, his big moments, kind of like DeAndre Hopkins is kind of having with the Chiefs, But, as far as where they go from here, I mean, really, it's going to be the wheel show, the good old-fashioned Bills Chiefs showdown in the playoffs at some point this year in the postseason, man. And it's really just a matter of that question that we ask ourselves every year is, can the Bills get over that Chief hump, and can it be the year, that they do it? And, they do look defensively. They're not defensively stout like in years past. That's really a shaky question. But truly, offensively, I feel like Josh Allen is, me personally, I know Lamar Jackson is having another phenomenal year. Put up another 40 points again this weekend. But to me, my MVP this year is Josh Allen, just based on what he means to that organization, what he means to that team. You look at that roster and they don't have a Derrick Henry. I know James Cook is a great back, don't get me wrong, but is he a Derrick Henry? I wouldn't say so, So Josh Allen to me is their MVP. Where do they go from here is really as far as Josh Allen will take them, and, hopefully they don't have a kicking letdown or a defensive lapse later down the road. But I do think the Bills are poised to make another deep playoff run. As far as the Dolphins goes, I mean, they've unfortunately with their, with the injuries to their quarterback, I mean, they've had to not that they're tanking games, but just kind of that's just kind of the nature of the beast when your starting franchise quarterback goes down and you got to throw in emergency quarterbacks, and you got to sign guys off of their couch that haven't played in a while, and you just got to throw them into the fire. And um, as do the Dolphins have a shot to maybe contend down the road for one of those last wild card spots? I haven't looked at their schedule, and I haven't broken down their schedule. I just don't really see it with the Dolphins this year. They just kind of buried themselves too early, and it's not a fault of their own. Truly, it's just the nature of the beast when you're starting your franchise quarterback that you just extended and gave big money to, goes down early on in the season.
Yeah, it's a rough time in Miami, just of no fault of their own. But coming back the last 2 weeks, losing to the Cardinals on a field goal in the last couple seconds of the game, and then losing to the Bills in the same fashion. At what point are you looking like, okay, we're hurt defensively. Yes, our offense is back to 100%, but we're still nowhere near what we thought it was going to be. We might just not be a good team right now. We are just maybe not a playoff team. And I think that's going to be hard for them to come to terms to, for Mike McDaniel to come to terms to. A lot of people saying Mike McDaniel should be fired at this year. I don't agree with that. He just got a contract extension as well. He just needs to scheme a little differently because people started to figure it out now. And it's just the nature of the game, being a coach, being players, and being 2-6 is not really great for your playoff chances. To the Bills, 7-2, easily going to run away with the AFC East with 3 other very bad teams in that division. And honestly, it says a lot about them because they really had to squeak out 2 wins against a very bad Jets team and a very bad Miami team. And I'm not saying they're fraudulent because they're winning games. They're winning tough, gritty games. But I don't know how deep they go playoff wise. They're not the same Bills of the last couple years in a lot of ways, but Josh Allen is still Josh Allen, and he will get you there, especially if he's playing his best statistical year with turnovers, yards, and efficiency. So it's a little give and take there. I don't think they get over the Chiefs this year, but I'd love to see it. Speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, we will switch gears right into Monday Night Football, Bucs Chiefs, and a la my name, I think Baker Mayfield is he should be in MVP talks this year. Other quarterbacks are having fantastic years. As Ricky said, Josh Allen having a fantastic year. Lamar is having another MVP year. The odds-on favorite to have back-to-back MVP. But you got to look at Baker Mayfield now, having a great year. Not so much with efficiency. He does turn over the ball a little more than you like, but his yards are insane. His touchdowns are great. He's igniting that offense. He's doing a lot on his legs, which you haven't seen in the last couple of years from Baker. The rushing game is benefiting from him tremendously in Tampa now. They went from the worst rushing team 2 years in a row to now a top 6 yards per carry team. And I think that has a lot to do with Baker Mayfield and how they're scheming with him. Everyone thinks they're going to be so pass heavy, especially with the last couple of years. And it's really opened up the game a lot for them now. And the offensive play calling. Todd Bowles' defense, great script as always, doing all you can against Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce just dominating. It's rough script. They got him to OT. And my claim for Baker is he's now throwing to Jalen McMillan as his number 1 receiver. Kate Otten is doing most of the work. He completed 4 passes to a receiver that entire game, and they were 24-24 going to OT against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's my Baker Mayfield is doing it all for that team with very little around him and being competitive against the best team in the NFL. record-wise, at least. And just give them some flowers. Kansas City, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, just the trifecta. You can throw Kelsey, get the quadfecta there too. It's just hard to beat. It's hard to beat on both sides of the ball when you get the greatest offensive mind, the most athletically gifted quarterback having his worst year, and the best defensive mind in the game. But with a fantastic defense. It's just hard to win in Arrowhead. No ifs, ands, or buts. DeAndre Hopkins had his revival game. That's going to be hectic for the league to cover DeAndre, who looks like he's now last year of his Texans days, DeAndre. Like, he just wiped out those years with the Texans, came back, was like, cool, I'm going to be the top 10 receiver you always knew I was. Great. Going forward, Chiefs are just playing for the number 1 seed, pretty much at this point. Playing a little.
I gotta say it, Gage. I gotta throw it out there, man. Is this 17-0 season? Is the perfect season possible?
No, I just don't believe that. They drop a game to someone in their division.
At some point, they're gonna drop a game to somebody at some point.
I would put money. It would be the Broncos next weekend. If you really look at it, it's a theme. Last year was an anomaly. They weren't a great regular season team, still won the Super Bowl. This year, this is like years past, so they're a great regular season team. We expect a lot of them in the playoffs again. But they always drop a random game to the Raiders, to the Chargers, to the Broncos. Just random here and there. Divisional games are always hard. I truly don't see them winning every game. They've had such close games. Again, a depleted Bucs team took into OT. Like half a toe away from losing to the Ravens. Then a PI from losing to the Bengals. It's just how long
missed pass interference to losing to the Falcons.
Yes,
that Kyle Pitts play. Yeah,
Kyle Pitts play. I forgot about that one. It's just how continual can you keep this streak with Patrick Mahomes, who's now hurt too, having his worst year? How far can that defense really carry you? I think they have an off week, and I would say it's next week in Denver. I really think that's the one that people wouldn't look at and be like, oh, that's the game they lose. So I don't think 17-0 is really in the works.
Yeah, they got Denver. I know they're going to Buffalo pretty soon, in a couple of weeks. I believe they still have Pittsburgh a little bit later in the year. Which, I mean, Pittsburgh's kind of rolling as well.
Okay, so they have a home game, the Broncos. Then they have...
Yeah, it's tough for a rookie quarterback to go in there.
Yeah.
Aiden O'Connell did it last year as a rookie.
I thought they were in Denver this one. Then they go into Buffalo. Then they play the Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, and then they go to Denver. So there's a couple of those that are going to be close games as well. That's wrapped around your divisional games.
Yeah.
I still think the Bucs should be the favorites to win that NFC South title. I know it's really a 2-man race down there between them and Atlanta. It's going to be close. And I think the Bucs, they just have the resiliency to do it and at least make the playoffs. So I think both of these teams will be in the playoffs.
That last, kind of backtracking a tiny bit as far as you're talking about Baker. I mean, yeah, it's tough sledding when reliable, Mike Evans goes down and Chris Godwin go down and can't really complete passes. But that final drive to go tie the game late by Baker was truly masterful, man. I mean, he was really slicing up that defense. And just the look on his face, when they lost the coin toss.
Yeah, that's a competitor, man. Like He knows it. He wanted the ball, and he knows
Yeah.
that Patrick Mahomes gets that ball in OT. Like, he might not get the ball in his hands.
I understand. I personally, if I'm a Bucks fan, I don't like that. I don't like that look of like, oh my God, here we go. It's more of I would have preferred like, all right, let's go. Like, let's go. Like, I got confidence in my defense. Let's go. Like, we're gonna get the ball back. You know what I mean? But what can you do when you play Patrick Mahomes in overtime and you lose the coin toss? More than 9 times out of 10, it feels like 10 out of 10, Gage. Like, for real, it feels like it's just we're in a time loop. We're seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And these guys don't lose.
The only time overtime has gone against Patrick Mahomes was when it was Tom Brady on the other side.
And it took the greatest of all time, and in that instance, Patrick didn't touch the football either.
Yeah.
So, oh man, these Chiefs, it's as a diehard Raider fan, seeing a dynasty. Oh, you know what it's like to have a dynasty in your division, for so many years. It's truly agonizing, man. I got Chief fatigue. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got Chief fatigue here.
Yeah, you and the rest of the league, man. Like,
but what can you do, man? We got to band together. We got to take them out, man. Somebody's got to do it. I don't care who does it, but somebody's got to do it, man.
Yeah, come playoff time, it's you're either a Chiefs fan or you're not. Yeah. Decompress from that. Really think it could be a very interesting playoff race this year. Speaking of playoff races, somehow the Cincinnati Bengals are still in the playoff race at 4-5 after a 1-3 start. They've played gritty games. Joe Burrow again had a Joe Burrow game against the Raiders. Five touchdown passes, and it's just this. When do you, as a team, look like where are we going wrong when we start so slow for the last 3 years that we have to have this miraculous run at the tail end of the season to even make the playoffs? At what point are you looking at Zach Taylor like, is this a coaching thing? Like, why are we starting so slow? Why is our starting quarterback looking like he's not ready the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season before looking like Joe Burrow again? And I think that needs to be looked at, especially if they don't make it the playoffs this year, because now they have an uphill battle again. Luckily, the AFC as a whole kind of sucks. So, blessed with that. Blessed with the Browns being very bad, and not blessed with the Ravens being very good, and the Steelers also being very good. But we all expected that division to be the best in the AFC. The Browns just did Browns things. So they have a very good shot. They're against the Jets, who suck. They're against the Chargers, who I don't know how are in conversation, but they are. And the Broncos, who I'm waiting for the bottom to fall out of that team with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. But that defense is real, and they just ran into a brick wall against the Ravens. So that's to be expected. Broncos are 5-4. I think the Chargers are 4-5. Double check this before I start spouting nonsense.
No, the Chargers have a winning record, actually.
They're 5.
I believe they're 5-3.
5-4.
I believe they're 5-3. I know they got 5 wins. I'm not sure if they got the 3 or 4 losses.
They are 5-3. You were correct.
5-3. There you go.
They didn't have
That's Harbaugh for you, man.
They had their bye week ready.
That's good old Jim Harbaugh. He's gonna grit out games one way or the other. The guy just knows how to turn programs around, and he knows how to win.
Yeah, I mean that team let a lot of people go, and you never look at it like, all right.
As far as the Bengals go, man, I mean, this slow start thing. I mean, at some point, this is going to catch up to them, and maybe last year was the year that happened with Joe Burrow going down. But I don't know what it is. I'm not a big like preseason advocate or nothing like that. I don't know if Joe Burrow's got to play more preseason games or what they got to do over there to fix that slow start stuff. But I mean, they definitely have turned it around. I mean, Joe Burrow looked like how you just said. He had one of those Joe Burrow games. Granted, it was against the Raiders. Um, but a little silver lining is that the Raiders, if we have to put a strength to what they are, is they're a little stronger defensively than they are offensively. And Joe still, Joe Burrow still put up
Did Joe
41
still play
against them.
points? Yeah, it's just,
Five touchdown
and that's
passes
with no T Higgins still.
with no T Higgins,
And who would have
and
thought Mike Gesicki having 100 yards and 2 touchdowns? But here we are.
only the Raiders, really. Somebody always has a career day versus the Raiders.
It's just getting to that point of now you're a game back, a game and a half, counting Chargers, game back of the Broncos, who don't have the hardest schedule in the world. They do play the Chiefs twice, and they have, I think they play the Bengals a heads up, I'm pretty sure. But I'm gonna again check this real quick. Schedule. They play the Chiefs next week, the Falcons, Raiders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs again. So that last 3 weeks is going to be massive for playoffs. And I guess last 4 weeks, because technically the Colts are 4-5 a game out as well. So they are blessed with the not great, a very top-heavy AFC fighting for it. They are now, after a firefight with the Ravens in the first meetup at home, they're going into Baltimore to play again, coming off of a masterclass week of Ravens offense, led by John Harbaugh and Lamar, Derrick Henry, and after a full week of Deontay Johnson practice now, too. How well do you fare at an away game against the Ravens? And my thinking is divisional games you always split. But if you lose this game, how likely are you to make it at this point? Because the Ravens are going to make it one way or another. I'm not going to talk. This is mostly for the Bengals. The Ravens we know what they are. We know where they're going to be, and we know who they're going to have to beat at the end of the day. We all know that. And Lamar's going to have to beat those allegations at some point. We all know dot to dot what we expect for the Ravens. The Bengals are just question mark after question mark every year. Every single year. And Joe Burrow's still, knock on wood, he's still healthy. Like, I want to see what happens now. Because they're too good of a team offensively to be this bad. Like, their defense is not great this year, but they're just too good to be this bad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the first thing that they need to do is tighten up defensively. That's pointing out the obvious. That's Captain Obvious speaking here. But what a treat, man! What a treat we have for Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football always has a reputation of snoozers. Jaguars, Giants, or something like that. It's just kind of the reputation that Thursday Night Football has. But man, what a banger we have this week. Bengals at Ravens, both teams putting up 40 plus the week before. And to be quite honest with you, Gage, I don't expect anything different. Maybe not 40 apiece, but I do expect it to be a firefight, a high scoring affair, a shootout with these two elite level quarterbacks. We're talking about 2 out of the top 4 or 5 best in the league, however you want to slice it, going at it. And the fact that we get this matchup 2 times a year, man, we got to enjoy that. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what the spread is. I would assume, obviously, the Bengals are going to be underdogs. I don't know what the exact number is. Not that we're talking spreads and all that, but I do expect it to be a closer game. I don't know if you're looking up. Maybe you can tell
I
me.
am already on
I'm gonna
top
say
of it.
maybe 3.5, 4 points, maybe.
They have the Bengals at +6.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take that all day. I expect that. I expect that to be a closer game.
The over at 52.5.
Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. So, um, do I have a clear cut winner as we speak today? No, but I do expect it to be a closer game. And if Cincinnati can tighten up, it is a divisional game, and just like you said, when two powerhouse quarterbacks are playing each other, there's typically a split in there.
And just for the sake of throwing out a prediction there, you can follow suit afterward. I'm gonna go. I do think the split happens. Because if it doesn't, I don't know how the Bengals recover at 4-6. The rest of their remaining schedule, because their schedule is not easy. Trucking ahead. Just because the under over is 52.5. I think that's a bait play by Vegas over there, thinking people smashing the over. So I think it's going to go under. I think it's going to go 27-24 Bengals, just so they hit that 51-point little drop right there.
Yeah, it feels like the obvious urgency is with Cincinnati. You know, a little bit of house money for Baltimore. Yeah, I do like it to be a very close game. With whoever has the ball last, I feel like it's going to win that game.
Well, on that note, okay, look forward to catching you guys Friday night with a little review of this game, however it turns out, see if I was right and or wrong. And that will do it for us for this week. Once again, I am Gage. Oh, I got it right this name. That is Ricky. And we are House Call Sports. Gridiron. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, X, Instagram, Facebook, and any other Threads as well. Any other social media platform you may or may not have. Follow us everywhere. Like and comment. Thank you guys. Peace.